everyone, to our next panel talk with what I must say is a really inspirational panel, so you're going to be in for a treat. And we're here to talk about ways to kickstart your career in tech with the various organizations and initiatives that are running with all of the individuals that are with us here today. But you probably don't know who they are yet. So we're going to start with a few introductions. So let's start off with, who are you? What does your organization do? And what did you want to be when you were 10 years old? So Patrice, can we start with you?
I know, I just realised I sat in the hot seat. This is the first one. So hello everyone. If you haven't seen me already on the stand or earlier on, my name's Patrice Buddington and I'm a Lyft Hub Manager in digital and tech. So my role currently encompasses managing projects and interventions around apprenticeships, jobs and training in the tech and digital sector for young people and adults, but specifically a focus on 16 to 24-year-olds. And as I said, it's working on behalf of the Mayor of London's Digital Hub programme and the Digital Skills Academy. So all our work is focused around helping people get into jobs, training and opportunities across 4 London boroughs. So that's me. And in terms of what I wanted to be when I was 10 years old, funnily enough, I wanted to be a journalist or a newsreader. So I've kind of got my wish in a way to be on stage and hold a mic. So thank you for bringing that to life.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Niall Henry, and I'm the founder and CEO of a trailblazing social enterprise called The Blair Project. So just to let you know, it's nothing to do with filming ghosts or with no affiliation to Tony Blair. It's named after my younger brother. So what we do is we train young people aged 11 to 19 in how to convert used petrol go-karts into fully electric e-karts that they get to test and race to see which is the fastest and the most energy efficient. But it's about inspiring and infusing young people to want to pursue careers within science, technology, and engineering. And what did I want to be when I was 10? I wanted to be an actor starring in films with DiCaprio, Leonardo DiCaprio.
I feel for that one. Over to you, Hosanna.
Afternoon, everyone. My name is Hosanna Halley. I'm the founder of a platform called The Tech Corner. I built the Tech Corner because I wanted to show all the opportunities that are available in tech for women, especially women who look like myself. I come from a computer science background. I did a computing degree at university, and obviously there weren't many women in that, and there weren't many women in my other classes throughout my life. So I really wanted to build a platform to get women excited about the tech industry, both from a coding perspective and a non-coding perspective as well. So I've been running the Tech Corner for like 3 years now. And then for my day-to-day perspective, I'm also a sales engineer in cybersecurity. So that's what I do as part of my day job. When I was younger, I wanted to be a doctor. I think I wanted to be anything that sounded cool when I was young. So I was like, I think a doctor sounds cool. And maybe I will be one day. It's never too late.
Great. Hi, everyone. My name is Kevin Osei. I'm the founder and CEO of a charity called Bridging Barriers, and we help young people aged 14 to 25 from ethnically diverse and low socioeconomic backgrounds to achieve career success. We do that through mentoring, so giving young people access to role models that work in their field of interest. They mentor them over a 6 to 9 month period, helping them with their personal and their professional development. Been doing that for the last 3 years now. Since then, we've helped over 600 young people through our program. And just on a journey to support many, many more young people who need the support the most to be able to access employment and achieve career success. In terms of what I wanted to do when I was 10 years old, I wanted to be a footballer, which I'm sure isn't really surprising. But as the saying goes, I got a knee injury when I was 14 years old, and I'm not lying. I actually got a knee injury. And now here I am running a charity helping young people. So nice to meet you all.
Amazing. I always say never. So you're all doing this amazing and very inspirational work, which I'm sure many people in our audience would love to take advantage of. But what I'd love to hear about is, why is what you're doing with your communities important? What is the impact that you're having? And Kevin, I'd like to start with you.
Yeah, sure. Look, I think it's important because a lot of young people who come from similar backgrounds to ourselves, unfortunately, lack positive role models. And for me, one of the main reasons why I started the work I do was I grew up in Newham, East London, not too far from here. And in Newham, there's a lot of young people who are talented but don't fulfill their potential for a number of different reasons. For example, lack of positive role models, lack of father figures. And it was something that I realized there was an ongoing pattern. And I noticed this when I was about 17 years old. So when I noticed this ongoing pattern, I was like, you know what, this isn't right because a lot of these people are talented. So I want to do something about it. At the time, I didn't know what exactly to do. I was only 17, so I was like, you know what, let me carry on with life, and hopefully one day I'll be able to do something about this. So started university in 2017. At the time, looking to go down the investment banking route, applying for loads of different spring weeks and internships, and getting rejected from every single employer, which I'm sure some of you can relate to. And I guess the annoying thing is that whilst getting those rejections, these employers don't give you feedback, right? So you don't know what's wrong with your applications or how to improve them. And for me, that was really, really frustrating. And then the following year in 2018, thankfully, I had a mentor. And for me, that was a huge eye-opener, because that was when I realized that actually my CV isn't as good as I thought it was. Neither were my interviews, and my cover letters were also quite weak as well. So we strengthened in all of those different weakness areas. And as a result of that, I managed to secure an internship at one of the big 4 financial services firms, KPMG. And so for me, after experiencing the first-hand benefits of mentoring, that was when I realized that actually mentoring is something that a lot of young people who come from similar backgrounds to myself don't even know what it is, let alone know the benefits that come with having a mentor. So for me, it's important because of giving young people access to role models, and also just making sure that they're able to install in them that confidence that a lot of them unfortunately don't have. In terms of impact, so as I mentioned briefly, we've helped over 600 young people through our program, and from our last cohort in 2021, 60% of them are now in full-time employment. And yeah, all our young people come from ethnically diverse and low socioeconomic backgrounds. About 75% of them come from black backgrounds. And yeah, just trying to bridge the barrier, pun intended, that we unfortunately face trying to access employment.
Amazing. Thank you for clarifying that. And I think for the people in the back who maybe don't know what mentoring is, can you quickly define it for us?
Yeah, so I guess mentoring is traditionally anyway, when someone who's younger would get support from someone more senior. If we're talking in like a career aspect, who will guide them, support them, and nurture them into, improving their employability skills, both personally and professionally, helping them to, increase confidence, career knowledge. So yeah, in a nutshell, that's what I'd say mentoring is.
Amazing. Thank you for that. And Patrice, I can see you were nodding quite a lot through that. Would you like to go next and talk about the impact and the importance of what you're doing?
Yeah, so I think in terms of the impact of the work that I've been doing and the program and my colleagues, again, we bring in lots of expertise, such as people that have mentoring programs that already run, really high quality interventions that support people into employment. And similar to other panelists here, it's that lived experience that you bring to the table, and having been there and had, a similar upbringing to the people that you're working with or working on behalf of, and understanding exactly how that impedes on their progression in a career or gaining access to that career. So in a nutshell, the impact we're having, it's vast, from the, one-off talks that you might give at an event, right the way through to the interactions that you have at a careers fair or an event like this, where just that nugget of information that kind of sends people off into a different trajectory. So, speaking to a young chap today, I think the feedback I got from him was it was the information I needed to hear, because I asked him how did he find what I was saying to him, and he said I think it's what I needed to hear. And I think it's sometimes just being in the spaces where you can impart that information, share that knowledge and that lived experience, but also through the structure of a program that's funded and that has further reach than just myself. So I think for a lot of black professionals, it's sometimes you're carrying the weight of, you've got it in your mind that you want to bring people on that journey or share that experience. But I think once you're working in a setting where you can bring that, but also with some resources, it makes a lot of difference. So I think the impact for us is having the resource to actually make a change, make a difference. And I think for me also, the fact that I get to influence policy as well in some of the organisations that I work in, has a far-reaching impact well beyond the programme and the funding and everything else that's around it. It makes lifelong changes for others beyond me.
Incredible. It sounds like knowledge sharing is really at the core of that, and getting that from individuals who have that experience and passing it on. Absolutely. Niall, I'd love to come to you next on the impact that you're having and why it's important for your community, what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. I suppose we're a Manchester-based business, but we have started working with young people in London, and we've worked with about 1,200 young people across the UK. And I know before I started my business, I was looking for role models within engineering and digital, and I couldn't find anybody. So I decided, right, if I can't find a role model, then hopefully I can be the role model to the next generation. And so purposefully what we do is we go into schools and teach young people, coding, 3D printing, electrical and mechanical engineering. And, when we first started running these programs, we'd use volunteers, ambassadors from automotive companies, whether it's Jaguar Land Rover or Vauxhall. And although some of the young people were engaged, they weren't, because they couldn't see their possibilities through that old retired white middle-aged man. Whereas when we switched up the program, it was myself and my younger brother delivering these sessions, the young people were like, oh, wow, so if Niall can do it, then there's a possibility I can do it too. And that's what we aim to inspire, because there's so many opportunities within the realm of net zero. And, why can't our young people benefit from some of these amazing opportunities? So that's what we want to do. And so we've had 95% of the young people who come through our programs go off either to college, university, or go and do an apprenticeship. Now, and without a positive incentive like that, you'd never know where that would have ended.
Inspiring. And last but not least, Hosanna.
Yeah, I think for me, definitely impact is about representation. Growing up, I didn't really even know what tech was, apart from what I saw on TV. And what I saw in the media was definitely not a young black Congolese girl. So it was really important when I started my platform to show other kind of young women that there were so many opportunities out there in the tech industry, especially because of how much the tech industry kind of gives to the employers and the opportunities that you get. And I think it's only fair that everybody gets the opportunity to kind of get involved. It's been around for so long, yet there's a tiny portion of black women in the tech industry. I think it's something like 3% globally. So when you hear kind of women in tech, in reality, there's really not that many within the industry. So, for example, I'm the only female sales engineer in my company in the UK. So you can imagine that is actually the reality of what's happening in the tech industry right now. So that's what kind of my platform is about. And hopefully also holding some of these companies accountable and making sure that they find candidates and they support young kind of black people to get into the tech industry as well.
Incredible. I think something I really want to highlight here is how insight and knowledge gaining and sharing and that kind of having that network around you has been at the core of what each of you have said here, which is fascinating. But I suppose what I would like, because I want to give some takeaways to our audience here, is perhaps how do they get that insight and experience and understand from other people? Hosanna, I would love to go back to you first.
Yeah, I would say getting kind of insight and experience when it comes to the tech industry is really just getting yourself out there. There are so many opportunities, and lots of companies are now starting to have internships, insight days, volunteering. So you can definitely go the more structured route when it comes to kind of getting insight. But if you don't want to go down kind of just doing internships and stuff, you can also do apprenticeships, you can go to university. But you can also use social media. I'm pretty sure most people on the panel are on social media, either on LinkedIn, TikTok, Instagram. So using those free resources is such a great place to start. Don't feel like you have to pay for anything straight away. You know, when I started my degree, I used so many free resources. It was like YouTube was my life, my best friend, to understand what was actually out there. And then use platforms like Target Jobs, Prospects, which I'm sure you all know. They post so many great blogs about the tech industry and the different roles that there are out there. Because I think what is so scary and overwhelming about the tech industry is that there are so many roles, and every year roles change, and they literally just change titles. Like the same role was called this last year, now this year's changed because a new technology has come out. So kind of making sure you really go out there, use all the free resources that's available, and also just put yourself out there as well. Reach out to people, let them know that you're interested. I get lots of people reaching out to me on LinkedIn saying, I really want to know about your role. Like, I would say most people don't know what a sales engineer is until, you know, they meet one. But it's great to see people reaching out and being like, what do you do? What does your role entail? I get how much money do you make? Quite a lot, and I'm happy to answer that as well. So yeah, just make sure that you go out there and use all the resources available to you.
Amazing. Niall, I could see you were nodding there as you were going.
I mean,
Yeah.
you pretty much said the majority of it. The fact that you're even here right now, you're on the step in the right direction. Definitely, you know, there's loads of free resources out there, especially there's websites like Udemy where sometimes there's free courses, some are paid. It's not very expensive. You can learn online, and then just come to events and network and speak to companies, because generally, you know, most people employ people that they know. Like, if you build up a solid enough connection, people are like, do you know what? I actually like that person. I'm going to give you an opportunity. So apparently, 90% of jobs aren't even advertised because it's through people you know. So if you can come to, like I said, networking events, apply for apprenticeships, opportunities, yeah, it's a great step in the right direction.
Oh, I'm next. Yeah, you guys have all said, you know, variations of the stuff that I've been kind of saying all day, and the behind the scenes, the insights are what's really important. Just to build on what you were saying about the networking, speaking to people who you know, the jobs not being advertised, that is so true. In the tech industry, we work a lot with the experts in recruitment and hiring, and a lot of it is through referrals. So it is, you know, who you know sometimes, which isn't, you know, the greatest, because as we've already attested to, the networks and mentors are not necessarily there for particular groups. And I would just say, don't underestimate your own network. So just speaking to friends and family and people that you never know who knows somebody or who's working in a department where they're hiring, they need someone to do a piece of work. And I would also say, think outside the box. I think a lot of the questions that we get asked about very straightforward opportunities, do you have an internship? Do you have a placement program? The answer is a flat yes. However, is there something else you could ask? So while you're here today or at any events or networking, I would say it's just think of some different types of questions to ask hiring managers or people on the stands, because we'll say yes, and then once you haven't got anything else, the conversation kind of ends there, and everyone's asking the same question. What else could you be asking? So I would just put that out to the audience that, you know, it's about networking, but kind of being really intentional with your networking and not just going around and asking, do you have placements? Do you have jobs? What else is always what I'd add to that. So yeah, if I can add any value, it's that.
And I will throw in a little caveat as well. If you're going for a job interview, if you can prove to that employer that you've done stuff outside of that interview to demonstrate that you want that job, you'll be further ahead than the majority of us who go to that interview.
Comes down to a lot of, I think, what you've both said is building a powerful network, but it's also showing that passion that you have, showing your research and kind of having that backing for yourself, which is incredibly important. And Kevin, I could see you wanted to add there.
Look, the panelists have said most things. I guess I'll just add two things. I think it's definitely really important to be proactive. So coming to events like this is obviously really, really important. You know, nowadays on social media, on Google, the answers to most things are on there. Looking for jobs, looking for opportunities, going to an Eventbrite, attending events like this is obviously really, really important. Another thing I will say as well, though, is the importance of getting out of your comfort zone. So with a lot of people, and I used to be guilty of this, and sometimes I still am, you go to networking events and you want to speak to people, but sometimes it's quite hard to, especially if you're an introvert. But I think it's so important to understand that there's no growth in comfort. And if you really want to grow and learn, you have to get out of your comfort zone. And I think that's really important. And I was at UK Black Business Show the other day, and Stephen Bartlett was the closing speaker. And at the end, someone got an opportunity to ask a question. And she basically asked him for an opportunity, and he offered her an internship there and then. And that's because she got out of her comfort zone, and you know, from that came an opportunity. So I'd say definitely get out of your comfort zone. Don't be scared to, you know, speak to recruiters, speak to other people here who are you know, around the same stage that you're at. You know, peer-to-peer mentoring is obviously really important as well. So yeah, I'd say be proactive and get out of your comfort zone.
Certainly a memorable moment to get an internship on the spot from Stephen Bartlett, right? But what I really loved about what you said is the word proactive and kind of putting yourself in the space of self-improvement. And that is absolutely true, as everything we've had said by the panel. But I think what we also need to talk about is some of the challenges that you faced to be proactive in these spaces. I mean, it's not so straightforward as to just put yourself there and say, yes, I'm going to network purposefully. Like, what are some of the challenges that you've had, and how have you overcome them? And Kevin, I'm going to start with you.
Yeah, I mean, I've gone through a lot of adversity. I think adversity hates me because I love adversity now because I've realized it's the only way to grow as well when you go through those challenging moments. But yeah, two main forms of adversity I've faced is rejection and failure. So whilst at university, I failed university twice, ended up doing 5 years instead of 3 years. And you know, those of you who might have failed, I'm sure you can relate to the point where, you know, your friends are graduating, people are getting jobs, and you're still studying, and it can be a lonely moment. But for me, one thing that failure really taught me was that everyone's journey is different, and thinking that you're behind in life, there's no such thing as being behind in life, right? Everyone's journey is different. I think understanding that your journey won't always be linear is really important, because that way it helps put things into perspective for you, and you realize that actually I'm not behind. So failure really taught me a lot about myself. It taught me to build resilience, which I think is really important, because in life you will go through adversity, which links to my next point around rejections as well, which some of you might be going through at this moment in time. So being at university for 5 years, each year I was applying for spring weeks, internships, graduate jobs when I got to final year, getting rejected from every single employer until I got to my final year and I got 2 offers. So I had to go through on average 100 plus rejections to then get 2 offers. And I think to put that into perspective, it's really important, because some people will go through, for example, 99 rejections and give up, not knowing that offer's one away. So the importance of never giving up is really, really valid. And I think that, you know, believing yourself, one thing that failure's taught me, because I've never given up, is that I believe that now I can put anything I put my mind to. And I have so much belief in my abilities, to the point where when I was applying for jobs and I was getting rejected, how I looked at it was that it was the employer's loss, not mine, because they're missing out on an amazing potential employee, which is myself. And also another thing I'd say is that when it comes to applying for jobs and we get rejected from certain employers that we want to work for, it's very easy for us to, you know, feel down, because we're really looking forward to potentially working at that company. But one thing I'd say is that rejection is protection. And you might feel like you want to go down a particular route or company, but actually maybe you might not have liked the team, your manager, whatever it might be. So on a surface level, it's not always how it might seem if you were to actually get into that company. So yeah, rejection and failure are 2 main things that I actually embrace nowadays, because it's really helped me to build character and resilience, which I think is imperative if you want to succeed in life.
Yeah, I love the embracing of failure and rejection. As you said, it works as a 2-way. You may not have enjoyed it anyway. I could see, actually, Hosanna, you've been nodding the entire time. I'm sure you've got something to add there.
Yeah, definitely. In regards to challenges, you guys know I've just said that I'm often the only black woman in many rooms. I think this can be quite challenging from a personal perspective, because you never feel like you quite fit in. And when you guys join the corporate world, or if you're already in it, you'll realize there's a lot of politics in the corporate world. There's a lot of expectations of you to be around your team outside of work. So work drinks, parties, events. And sometimes that can be a little bit uncomfortable, because you don't know where the line is, right? Like, how friendly, how much of myself can I be here? Like, I'm always a little bit worried. is what am I going to say going to be a little bit too black? Do they understand the joke? Like, what does this mean for them? Like, are they going to be like, oh, she's coming off as this or that? So that's been quite challenging personally, because it can knock your confidence a bit when you're going into the workplace feeling like you can't be your full self. But the way that I've kind of overcome it is knowing and understanding the value that I bring to that organization. So when I walk into a room, I just say, they're going to take me as I am, because at the end of the day, I am the sales engineer for this account, for this company, and this is the value that I bring. This is what I know I'm good at, and I'm just going to bring my full self. And the other thing I would say is always making sure that I have my allies and I have kind of my people within the organization to keep me going. If I spend a day at work where I feel like, oh, I've spent the whole day kind of being very careful about how I can be, then after work, I spend, the time with my people and reflect and make sure that I can check in with people. And again, when it comes to accountability to organization, I always say that I'm very clear with the companies that I work with. I'll say, if I'm going to an event and I say, you know what, I'll tell my manager, I'm the only female going, or I'm the only black person going. I feel a little bit uncomfortable, or like what can be done and things like that. So just being open and remembering that you do bring value, you are needed, you bring so much to the organization, and there's definitely a space for you in that space as well. Yeah.
Brilliant advice there, brilliant. Niall, would you like to carry on there?
Yeah, a number of challenges. So we've been going for about 9 years, and every day, you're having to be, there's 3 words that I live by: be persistent, resilience, and determination. And you have to be that because, as an entrepreneur, you're trying to bring in revenue and you're trying to get new opportunities into your business. And not everything's going to go plain sailing. You're going to have to handle rejection, and it's knowing, right, okay, this didn't go through. Pick yourself back up. Let's go again. Let's go again. Let's go again. And, there's been times on this journey, the first 18 months of running my business, I didn't generate a single penny. And I had to go and get a part-time job just to bring money to carry on, let the business carry on running the business. And since then, it's been a lot of highs and a lot of downs. But definitely, it's knowing that just don't give up, just keep going. You will get there eventually. So for us, one of the biggest hurdles we had was in February 2020 when COVID first hit. Being an education and training company, it meant we couldn't work in schools. So it was like, oh gosh, what the hell do we do? Do we just shut the business down, or do we find a way to adapt? And we found a way to adapt our business that we noticed that adult skills training could still go ahead. So we've now, since late 2020, been working with adults doing EV skills training and coding boot camps. But it's knowing about, right, let's see what new opportunities I can go down the route of. And now it's led to an amazing thing where we're setting up a net zero innovation center where we'll be able to provide equipment for small to medium-sized companies to come in and innovate new products to help us reach the UK's net zero objectives. So yeah, it's just always about making sure that you're keeping ahead of the curve, but just don't let things knock you back.
I want to highlight those 3 words that you said earlier: persistence, determination, and resilience.
Yeah.
Fantastic words, and something absolutely as a mantra to live by, especially in those early days of your career. Absolutely. Patrice, please finish.
Gosh, I don't think I can top all of that great advice. But, in terms of challenges and things that, have helped me in my career is, I think, not asking for help. I think just remember to ask for help. I think along the way you will meet allies and people that are, really generous with their time, really generous with their resources, and don't be afraid to ask people for help, especially in your networks, especially here at events today, when people are genuinely smiling and saying to you, we're here to help, we'll answer questions. Take that as it is and ask for help, because, majority of people have been here before, done what you're doing. It saves a lot of time and a lot of heartache and mental fatigue and all sorts, that sometimes you just ask for help. And I think, in terms of the challenges that you will face along any aspect of your career, that's the biggest advice. I've made many a mistake not asking for help, and people turning around later on going, I could have helped you with that. And you do feel like, in certain positions, especially as you progress in your career, I've been in hiring manager positions or senior management positions where you feel like the responsibility is all on you. But I think it's not, and there's allies and people to help you. So that's the only thing I could add to this fantastic panel's advice already.
Definitely a fantastic bit of advice to end on, asking for help and not being afraid to do that. But also I think there's a secondary part of like being open to give help as well, you know? Like I know many times where, you know, more senior individuals have asked, you know, interns for help on certain things and their insights. It's a really great opportunity for you to contribute to the conversation that's there. So we've got virtually no time left, so I'm going to be very quick before we get chucked off. Can you all just tell us, like, one line again on what you do to remind everyone and how they can get involved with your amazing organizations?
Yeah, sure. So Bridging Barriers social mobility charity helping young people from black and minority ethnic backgrounds to achieve success through mentoring. If you want to sign up, check us out on LinkedIn, Bridging Barriers, Instagram, Bridging Barriers UK, website www.bridgingbarriers.co.uk. We've got our first networking event this Saturday, nearly 500 sign up, so check us out and sign up. 20 spaces left, so be quick. Yeah. I'm on Kevin Osse on LinkedIn if you want to connect with me.
Yes, so the Tech Corner, I help women secure the tech bag. That's my tagline. But you can find me on TikTok, Instagram. I've also got an ebook and a website launching very soon. And I will hopefully also be doing an event so you can come along, meet other women in tech, and also get an opportunity to network. But yes, and also Hosanna Halley on LinkedIn.
Yeah, if you're a young person, if you have kids 11 to 19, they can get involved with our training programs. If you go into our website, theblairproject.org, or on Twitter and Instagram at GetMeMotoring, you can get involved with our Pro to EV STEM Challenge. Or if you're an adult as well and you'd like to volunteer and give time back to help young people, and what these young people are really looking for is almost like a mentor as well, so someone that can guide them as well. If you'd like to volunteer, please do reach out to us on our website as well.
Yep, and you can find more content about the work that we're doing at liftfutures.london. We'll have the series of videos that we premiered earlier on today as part of Black Tech Fest on our website now, and you'll also be able to find more information about all the digital hubs across London via the Mayor of London's Academy program. So if you just search Mayor's Academy programs, the digital hubs will come up as part of that search. So, and you can also find us today, my colleague and myself are here on stand E7 if you want more information. So thank you.
Amazing. And I'm Catherine. I've been your host from Colour in Tech. Can we give a round of applause to our fantastic panelists? And be sure to check out all of their different initiatives and how you can get involved. But until then, stay tuned for the next talk.